Not sure you can hear me over the wind because it's really windy today, obviously, but it's starting to get to be towards fall. And that means we got to start cleaning out the garden, which means we need one of my favorite pieces of power equipment. I'm kidding about it being my favorite piece of power equipment. It's actually a cat turd. But here we have the ComCHOMPinator and its updraft issue, which I think I have a solution for. So let's drag its box and its little circular cutout over to the Quonset and we'll get to work. So here's the ComCHOMPinator in its current configuration. It's actually on a cart, but we have our box, the wood, and the mower, just in case you guys forgot. It's not a very popular series, so not many people forgot, because not many people have seen it. And underneath, we have a quad blade. Of course, the issues with blades, mower blades particularly, is that they're moved to not only cut grass, but to move air. And so the updraft to this thing is crazy. So you can shove a corn stalk through there, that's fine, but all the leaves and little bits like to come blowing out of there as well. So I was working one day and it came to me, why don't we swap the blades out with just a normal type of cutter blade that has no fan or anything along those lines. So what we're gonna do today is first test start it. So that'll be a cold start because it hasn't run this year. And number two, let's make a new blade for it. And we're gonna replace the four cutting edges with two, but a much heavier unit. So yeah, this thing sucks to start. It's got a hole in the bowl gasket here, which isn't cool. The primer bulb doesn't work. And so you either have to squirt gas down it or put your thumb over the intake to get enough gas to finally get going to get it running. So it's a real pain. So my current configuration of blades is this. I've got a pair of 20-inch blades, which I'll definitely use on other mowers because they're still pretty nice, in an X configuration. And it's just creating a ton of wind. Obviously you can tell by the profile. They're mulching blades. This one is anyway. So it probably was the original to it. And then this other one here, also mulching blade. But it just created too much wind. So what I'm planning on doing is replacing them with this. Initially we're just starting off and it's not that much heavier, but it is heavier, but it's essentially just a 1/4 inch piece of 3-inch flat bar cut to 21 inches long. The biggest concern I have, obviously, is getting the center correct. So we're gonna have to measure exactly center for both the center hole, and we're gonna try to cut out 2 cutouts for these little indents that are on the machine. So the true measurement of my blade is actually 21 1/4, or 21.25. So doing the math out, it actually ends up being about 10 5/8. And so I drew a line in pencil down the 10 5/8 mark, and once I get this left-right measurement, we'll cross it here, center punch it, and hopefully drill our hole. Right, so the master hole's done. It's fairly centered. It looks like it's a hair to the right, so we'll just need to compromise by shaving an end a little bit to bring that back in center so we don't get too much vibration on this blade. It's just a hair, it looks like, over too far to the right. So that would mean that we would need to, it's accidentally lengthened this side, so we need to shave off a little more next time when we start working on getting the blade cut. Next up is these 2 little guys here. So we'll measure their distance from the edge, do a center punch in the center, and we'll also those 2 drills on the center line of our mark right there. Well, that was fairly easy. Smaller holes are easier. I didn't even have to use my step bit to get to that extra large size there because it's about 5/8 big, and my biggest drill goes to 1/2 inch. So Well, we had to step that a little bit, but that's it now. Go give it a little mock-up, see if it fits underneath the deck. So the answer is yes, like a bug in a rug. I can't quite see very well, but it's snug in there on the hole and the two little dimples there. So you can see right there, we've got the two dimples. So this blade is good to go. Check to see if this motor can handle a heavier blade. So number one, our fit check fits great. So if I hold this camera, giving it a spin, no worries about this thing starting. It does clear all the way around. And it is off a hair, right? So let's just fire this thing up and see if it's gonna even be able to run a blade that heavy before we even start grinding. Well, it's in there, so cool. Let's keep going then. That seemed like it was all right. Wasn't too scary running. Fantastic. You don't need to change the oil on this engine. So another reason why this motor sucks is the only place to change it is that little hex bolt right there, the oil. Everything else is buttoned up down here, and there's nothing hiding on the outside. Outside of tipping it on its side and draining it through the fill plug, it's that little guy. Of course, they put it right up against the deck there, so that's fun. We're gonna have a great time getting that off. And we'll get the oil change while we're down here and the new blade off and get some blade sharpness on that. And working on the blade, gotta go in and make a measurement of how much, this will be the top, how deep do I need to go in, aka how much of the hole can this blade see that needs to be sharp, so if a corn something comes in, it can hit it and get cut. So looking through the chute, which gets most of the action you see here, 5 inches is just about there, and you figure material is going to be entering as far as up here, so we probably need to go to 6 inches in. 45 angle, we'll do that. 45 angle should be great for this. I could do it on the bench grinder, but that's a lot of work. So I'm going to put it on the vise grips over there, the bench vise, and I'm just going to hit it with a grinder. Well, one side's done. Nice sharp edge on that puppy. Nice long too. 6 inches is here, so it's a little in, but whatever. Let's flip it over and do the other side. Okay, so with the new blade on it, it's set up on its wooden setup correctly. Earlier in the video, I had this top part upside down. We're gonna go ahead and give it a start. If you guys have any questions on the ComCHOMPinator or anything like that, go ahead and ask them now. I got some stalks of corn here we're gonna give a spin, and hopefully we're not gonna get the violent kick out that we usually have been getting. So they're just gonna run her and that'll be that. So let me see if I can get it started. And inside, it's not too shredded. It's pretty good though. It's good for compost anyway, first run. And if we had a lot more, that would help. It's real wet too, but I think it's so far a success. It's got no updraft, so you're not getting stuff blowing in your face. We'll see what happens when these corn stalks get dry and when we really crank it to it, but I can imagine us cramming peas down that hole and all sorts of stuff and shredding them up. So, fantastic.